I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Donald Trump is threatening Special Counsel Jack Smith and Special Counsel Jack Smith's family. This comes one day after CNN ran an exclusive story where it played the audio files that leaked that were referenced in Special Counsel Jack Smith's criminal indictment against Donald Trump. We had the transcripts of an incident from July of 2021, where Donald Trump was showing highly classified records to individuals who were ghostwriting an autobiography for Mark Meadows, specifically war plans relating to Iran. And in the transcript, Donald Trump was saying, "Look how cool this is. Doesn't this make me the winner? Aren't I better than the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley? Isn't he wrong?" And now we got the audio recording. CNN got it. Someone leaked the audio recording to CNN. I said yesterday that I believed it was Donald Trump, who is the most likely leaker. That's what he does. And he immediately started blaming the Department of Justice and Jack Smith and saying this is prosecutorial misconduct now that this has been leaked. But we know with Donald Trump, everything is projection. And now, a day after the audio leaked, confirming exactly what was said in the indictment, and it was just horrific to listen to. Here's Donald Trump threatening Special Counsel Jack Smith and spreading conspiracy theories. So let me read to you what Donald Trump wrote right here on his social media platform. Trump writes, "Could somebody please explain to the deranged, Trump-hating Jack Smith, his family, and his friends, that as President of the United States, I come under the Presidential Records Act as affirmed by the Clinton Sox case, not by this psycho's fantasy of the never-used-before Espionage Act of 1917. Smith should be looking at crooked Joe Biden and all of the crimes that he has perpetrated on the American public, including the millions and millions of dollars he extorted from foreign countries." You see, with Donald Trump, it's all projection. Donald Trump is the one who extorts from foreign countries. Donald Trump is the one who has engaged in many, many crimes. And in this post, Donald Trump is calling Jack Smith deranged. He's going after Jack Smith's family. He is calling Jack Smith a psycho and saying Jack Smith's psycho fantasies. And then, of course, just everything in the statement is false. When Donald Trump says, "I come under the Presidential Records Act as affirmed by the Clinton's Sox case," okay, they keep citing this thing called the Clinton Sox case, which is a case that was brought by someone who's not a lawyer, who gives Donald Trump advice, that guy named Tom Fitton, who wears the really tight shirts. The court in 2012 found that Tom Fitton didn't have jurisdiction to file his lawsuit. The lawsuit filed by Fitton was against the National Archives, requesting an injunction to force the National Archives to force former President Bill Clinton to turn over his notes in connection with an autobiography, a personal autobiography, personal notes. They call it the Sox case because Trump calls it the Sox case, or Fitton calls it the Sox case, because they allege that former President Bill Clinton kept the notes for his autobiography, his personal notes, in a sock drawer. But the federal court, Judge Amy Berman Jackson was the federal district court judge, ruled, Fitton, you don't have jurisdiction in 2012 to compel former President Bill Clinton to turn over his personal notes. And in any event, they're personal notes for his personal autobiography. He's not stealing classified records. He's not stealing classified maps. He's not stealing daily briefings. Also, just as a matter of basic law, district court cases are not precedent. It's not a circuit court decision or a Supreme Court decision that are published opinions which set precedent. Arguably, a district court case can be persuasive authority, perhaps within the district where the district court ruled. But even if this was persuasive authority, it's persuasive authority against Donald Trump, because the Clinton case in 2012 involved personal notes for a personal autobiography. It has nothing to do with the situation here. The next post by Donald Trump, he goes, "The deranged special prosecutor Jack Smith, working in conjunction with the DOJ and FBI, illegally leaked and spun a tape and transcript of me, which is actually an exoneration rather than what they would have you believe. This continuing witch hunt is another election interference scam. They are cheaters and thugs." So now in terms of what he's attacking and threatening, saying to Special Counsel Jack Smith, he called him a psycho, he called him deranged, he called him a cheater, he called him a thug. He accused Special Counsel Jack Smith of engaging in election interference and unlawfully leaking a tape to CNN. Here's the thing too, with first off, as I've always said before, it's all projection. So when I read this, it's like obvious to me that Donald Trump and someone on Trump's team leak this to the press so they can then say, oh, look, they knew how damning it was. And that's just what they do. They leak the damning stuff, and then they put a big lie around it and come up with some story. And then they, say, oh, Special Counsel Jack Smith leaked it. Here's the thing. Last week, Special Counsel Jack Smith gave notice to the federal court that all of the discovery was turned over to non-classified discovery to Donald Trump. So Donald Trump would have got that audio recording with his lawyer as part of the discovery dump by Special Counsel Jack Smith. And then all of a sudden after that, it gets leaked. It's such a thing that Donald Trump would do. And Special Counsel Jack Smith has had this tape since last February. So you're telling me 2 days after the documents are turned over, that's when Special Counsel Jack Smith wants to leak it, when he has the transcript and he's puts the transcript in the indictment? That makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense to me is that Donald Trump leaked it. And again, it's all projection. He always accuses the other person of the things that he did.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Fume. Cold turkey, it may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your wacky neighbor or some sketchy message board. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume, and they look at the problem in a different way. Now, not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. The first time I used Fume, I was shocked at how flavorful and fresh it tasted. Now, it's easy to hold and perfectly balanced and quite honestly, extremely fun to fidget with. The real wood material and sleek design definitely classes it up, and I feel pretty darn cool holding it. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use code Meidas to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use code Meidas to save an additional 10% off your order today.
Here's Donald Trump's next post. I built hundreds of miles of border wall, got Mexico to give us free thousands of soldiers to stand guard at the border. He just makes things up. It's just a lie. Remember, he said Mexico is going to pay for it. Like we can hear the audio recording. Like we know it's not an exoneration. We know Mexico didn't pay for the wall. And the wall wasn't even completed. And created the strongest and safest southern border in U.S. history. I will do it again and quickly. Also, I will get the many bad ones out of our country fast. The many bad ones out of our country fast. Mind you, he and a lot of MAGA Republicans are going out there now saying that they are going for anyone who's big government or socialist or Marxist, which they basically define if you're not in Donald Trump's MAGA Republican cult, you are somehow a socialist or a communist or a Marxist or a fascist. They combine all of them into one thing because it's just a total idiocracy. And then they go, that's who we're going to expel. And that's the language that's used of fascists. And here, Donald Trump is he's reposting Mark Levin, the guy from Fox who just yells and has no logical basis. He's the one who, when he interviewed Trump, goes, I just want to tell you that you are the smartest person I've ever met before, Donald Trump. You just answer questions so good. It was like the most embarrassing thing to watch. This is what Mark Levin wrote that Trump reposted. While beating their chests about the horrors of Trump holding classified information, the fact is that the corrupt Biden DOJ, sleazy Jack Smith's office, and the usual corrupt media lapdogs have publicly identified, characterized, and even released whatever classified information is known to the public. In this, they've committed scores of felonies, interfered in a presidential election, and have pushed the nation to the brink of some kind of civil war while smearing and denouncing Trump and his supporters. Trump hasn't leaked anything to the public. They have. I'm not going to even read the rest of it, but how pathetic this is right here, where he's saying that, that Jack Smith and the DOJ are responsible for moving the nation to the brink of a civil war, election interference, felonies, corrupt. I mean, again, and then say, Donald Trump never leaks anything. Come on here. Come on. We think we're born yesterday. Maybe to your MAGA Republican rallies, you can peddle that garbage, but not to intelligent pro-democracy people. Like, I mean, the level of propaganda and just stupid, very dangerous, but stupid propaganda here. It's so jarring to read. It's like, what in the world are you all talking? Oh, this is what he says on the next page. I said I wasn't going to read it all, but I'll read this. A.G. Garland, corrupt to the core, like most mob lawyers, has been caught perjuring himself before Congress. They just make stuff up. They make stuff up. Donald Trump posts this other one of Mark Levin. There must have been several scores of leaks against Trump involving testimony, documents, audio, and they're all obviously coming from the government. Trump's lawyers need to file an immediate motion with a long list of leaks as an exhibit, asking that the entire case be dismissed because of prosecutorial misconduct and the government's effort to influence the jury pool. Moreover, I would insist that the court determine whether the DOJ has opened investigations into these felonies. This needs to happen now. All caps, all capital letters. Like insane people, like actually insane people, like involuntary psychological hold, freaking crazy, deranged human beings here with just bizarre, weird Trump cult behavior. This is the next post by Mark Levin. Trump's lawyers must start getting aggressive and filing motions to move the trial. And this is all in caps, by the way. Again, crazy people. Move the trial until after the election to compel the regime to make all documents it intends to use public, including so-called classified information. Make public the secret filings and order of the D.C. federal judge violating attorney-client privilege, and a motion for the judge to hold DOJ in contempt for failing to actively prevent the ongoing endless leaks by the regime to the press. The regime? I mean, look, as I said, you can't try to make sense of these people other than to say they are insane, freaking crazy people, as evidenced by the things that they're saying. It's not normal behavior that they are engaged in. These are evil, dangerous, and frankly, very stupid people. I mean, you want me to go and I could break down what this says, but the regime, the leaks. I mean, first off, the one person who leaks is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's team leaks more than anybody. This investigation has been handled beyond appropriately. The judges in Washington, D.C., and the Court of Appeals made orders that attorney-client privilege doesn't apply because Donald Trump was engaged in crimes, and the crime fraud exception applied using lawyers to commit crimes. This case is filed under CIPA, the Classified Information Procedures Act. The government has already turned over all of its discovery to Donald Trump, other than the non-classified information, because they're waiting on Donald Trump's lawyers to gain a security clearance under CIPA that's required. So that's the process. Then Donald Trump will get the classified information that's part of discovery, subject to the protective order that his lawyers entered into. And here's Mark Levin's next post. He goes, Dershowitz is right. Trump did not commit any acts of espionage and is not accused of committing an acts of espionage, despite the name of the extremely controversial 1917 statute. Therefore, Trump's lawyers should file a motion with the judge directing that the Biden regime stop using the term to bias both the public and any potential jurors. The statute is called the Espionage Act. That's what it's called. And the Espionage Act is not a new statute. Okay, as mentioned, it's been around for a very long time, and it's been used a lot. It's been used recently. There was an individual who was just sentenced for willful retention of national defense information and received a serious sentence for the criminal conduct. It's a law that's on the books. There's nothing controversial about that. Oh, and then Mark Levin, Jack Smith must go to prison for this. He must go to prison for this. What? And it is a repost of someone saying, help me with this. The Department of Justice is prosecuting Trump for sharing information with a reporter when the Department of Justice itself shared the same information with CNN. Okay. First and foremost, the information itself, the classified information that Donald Trump showed the ghostwriter for Mark Meadows, that's not mentioned in the indictment, what it says. Okay? And it's not mentioned in the audio recording, what it says. But it's Donald Trump showing war plans relating to Iran to Mark Meadows' ghostwriters. Okay? But the actual plans themselves have not been published by Jack Smith. And if you look in the lawsuit, the counts of the lawsuit, counts 1 through 31 in the indictment, I call it the lawsuit, in the indictment, counts 1 through 31, broadly summarize the type and nature of the document. And it'll say this relates to nuclear codes, but it doesn't actually provide the nuclear codes. It just summarizes that Trump was holding on to nuclear codes. Another thing would say war plans. Another thing would say, information about an ally, information about a foreign regime that's adverse, about war plans there. It would just summarize in a sentence what the document was, but not actually give the plan. And everything that's on the audio recording is in the indictment. It's just the audio of Donald Trump saying it that Donald Trump's own staff member, Margot Martin, recorded. That's what it is. And then Mark Levin goes, Jack Smith must go to prison for this. I mean, these people are insane. These people are fascist and insane. And I'm not just using the term, I'm showing you what Mark Levin says there. Jack Smith must go to prison for this, and attacking prosecutors this way. This is the tactics of fascism. And this is not coming from just like random people who happen to be Republican. These are like the Republican leaders. This is Trump. This is the leader of the cult. This is Trump reposting this stuff from Mark Levin, one of the chief propagandists. It's a sad, sad thing that this is the modern day Republican Party, but we all have to recognize it and call it out and just say, this ain't normal. This ain't normal. And we're not supportive of this conduct in the United States of America. This is stuff that America has always opposed, and we're going to continue to oppose and preserve and protect our Constitution and our democracy together. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We are on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have an excellent day and hit subscribe.
Hey, Midas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.